Today I'm going to be talking to you guys all about fall trends that are in versus what is out. And this video is going to kind of walk you through ways that we had seen trends previously and maybe shifts that you can use and ways that you can adjust things that you already own in your wardrobe and make them so that they are more relevant and more in with what we are seeing now. Now, if you are like me and you are in your 40s or 50s and you may be seeing some of these new in trends and thinking to yourself, these are things that I remember from when I was a little bit younger, but they might have a little bit of a new twist on them. And the other side of that is you may be saying to yourself, some of the things that are a little bit on the outs are things that you either love or you might be a little bit disappointed to hear are a little bit on the outs, because as I'm seeing some of these, I was a little bit bummed with some of them. So stay tuned to the end and let me know as you see these, if there are anything that you are excited to see come back or a little bit bummed to see that are moving their way out. I personally can't believe that we are already in October. I actually said to MJ the other day, I said something about Halloween. He said, Mom, we're not even near Halloween yet. And this was like the last couple of days of September. And I was like, MJ, 2 days until October at that time. And he was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. I was like, I know, because we were having so many warm days. And in those warm days, it is so difficult to get dressed. And I feel like we all struggle. So I thought this was a good time to kind of sit down and talk about some of these fall trends that we're seeing more and kind of talk through how they're changing and how you can use things that you might already have in your wardrobe to shift into some of these newer trends. And stay tuned to my number 6, because I have a question if you guys are seeing something as a trend that I think is going out, and I'm devastated if this is going out, because I personally love it, but I'm not seeing it on my Instagram, my YouTube, my Pinterest, my TikTok. And I want to know if it's just me or if you guys are hopefully still seeing it out there, because if it's falling on the wayside and going away, I will be devastated. Now, the first thing I want to talk about is kind of your 90s denim skirts. Now, if you are like me, you were born in the 70s, 80s, you're kind of like, I remember these. And we started seeing them peak out. I want to say over the last few years, we started seeing them a little bit more the 90s style, the little bit more knee length, the slit in the front, the slits on the side. And we're definitely seeing them hitting even more now. But I feel like we were seeing them before more with like sneakers, with ankle booties. And now we're seeing them more, I would say, with your tights, with your boots, then you're not seeing as much skin with them, I would say. Whereas for a while there, when they first kind of came out, we were definitely seeing them, and I wore them as well, more with the ankle booties. I wore them kind of with sneakers and like a little bit more of a casual feel to them. They're definitely getting a more dressed up feel by wearing them more with the tights and more of the boots, and showing a little bit less skin gives it a little bit more of an elevated look. Now, when we're talking about those denim skirts or skirts in general, the thing we're kind of seeing move away or kind of get on the outs is a little bit more, we're not seeing as much of the maxi skirts. We're seeing the mini skirts still kind of stay around, but again, still in that trend. We're seeing them more with tights. We're seeing them more with the boots that come up to the knee and things like that. But we're not seeing the maxi skirts. We're not seeing the like pleated midi skirts and things like that. Those have definitely fallen a little bit more to the wayside, and we're not seeing that. Now, if you're not comfortable maybe in a denim skirt, but you are comfortable kind of in that midi length, you can wear, there's a ton of kind of like your sweater or sweatshirt or your silk or satin kind of materials of a midi skirt, a great pencil skirt in that midi length if you don't want a denim skirt, and then wearing those with those same tights or wearing them with a boot, a higher boot. Any of those, you can wear them also with a heel if that's what you're comfortable with, but any of those variations to give it a little bit more of your elevated look than a more casual look. The number 2 trend for fall and winter that I want to talk about is your Mary Janes. And I will say I have talked about them probably for the last 2 years fairly consistently. And I want to say I personally started in with them more probably along the lines of your flats. I had a pair over here that are more of a heel. That's the only one I can think of that I had for a while. But the Mary Janes are definitely here to stay. We are seeing them in flats. We are seeing them in heels. I recently got a pair of heels that are kind of a heel that can transform from either a Mary Jane to a classic heel, recently from Cozy Island. I'll put a clip in here to show you those. That's a great option. They're super comfortable that I can wear 2 different ways. But Mary Janes are a huge thing that we are seeing in flats. We are seeing it in heels. We are seeing it all across the board. It is a very classic shoe. It is a very fashion forward shoe. We're not seeing it as much for a while there. It was definitely like a platform kind of patent leather style. That was like in the very, very beginning. I think I got a pair of those and I want to say that was probably like 3 years ago, and I thought I was going to like them, and I remember I was like, I don't think this is my style, and I think I sent them back. See if I can find some pictures when I tried them on. I'll try and insert those in here. And that was, with the platform, was to me not very classic style, which was more my style. It was a little bit too fashion trend forward, and it didn't work for me, so I did send them back. But that was kind of when we were first starting to see them. Now they are definitely skewing more on the classic side of that. Just a very easy, simple buckle going across the front of it. But we are seeing them in every type of shoe you can think of. On the other side of this, I kind of actually just talked about this when we were talking about the skirts, is we're not seeing those kind of ankle booties as much with bare skin. We are still seeing them, but we are seeing them more with a tight or under a pair of pants or a trouser or a jean. We also are not seeing them with these wooden heels as often. When we are seeing ankle booties, we are seeing them more with kind of a solid colored heel. So my ones over here, probably I can put away at least for this year and kind of use some of the room over here, because we are not seeing that wooden kind of block heel. The block heel isn't the issue as much as the wooden heel. We are kind of seeing more of that style where you're seeing very cohesive, where the heel is the same color as the rest of the shoe. So that kind of cohesive look is much more classic kind of style. And that's why that Mary Jane is definitely more fashion forward for this year. The number 3 trend that we are seeing a lot more of this year is going to be your more, for lack of a better term, your more tailored pants, your pleated pants, your more, some people might consider them like more work pants or corporate pants, definitely more tailored in more neutral tones, your wool pants, your kind of, just, it definitely has more of a structured look to it, and structure does not have to be uncomfortable. You want them in the more natural fabrics, your cotton, your wool. These fabrics, you can have them in natural kind of fabrics that are super comfortable. You don't want to get them in your polyester blends, your things like that. Even though those can be comfortable, be aware of those because they just can read a little cheap. So be careful of that. But these tailored pants with, again, your ankle booties, your beautiful Mary Janes, a beautiful heel, can look just very elevated, but they can be comfortable. They're kind of just skewing more on this fashion forward trend, and you can take them from that more corporate kind of look to being more of a date night look by just simply changing the top to something that is more of a fun top, not a button down top. I personally like a button down top with it, but you can take it to a more date night, a more sexy top with that more tailored pant, and it really creates a whole different look. So you can do that very easily, but it creates a very fashion forward look and an on-trend look. On the other side of that, something that I have always loved the look of, but is definitely skewing away from the fashion forward or on trend right now, is the cargo pant. Now, I don't have a whole lot of those, but I will say I've got a pair I love for so many years. They're from DL 1961. I think I actually have two pairs. I've got a green pair and I have a light blue pair of these beautiful cargo pants that I have loved, and they're so comfortable, but they're definitely something that can move to the back of my closet for right now, kind of like I was talking about the more wooden heel. It's something that will probably make its way back, and if they are something I truly love, I will just move them kind of aside or put them in a kind of bin in the basement if it's not something I use right now. But cargo pants are definitely something that we are just not seeing something at the forefront right now. So if it's not something that I'm seeing right now, I might not grab for it as often, but if I love it, I might not get rid of it. If it is one that I truly love, I just kind of move it around in my wardrobe. The number 4 trend that we are seeing a lot of is your caramel brown belt. We are seeing a lot of this. Belts are making a huge comeback again. They definitely are giving a lot, especially with these more tailored pants that we are seeing. It's giving a lot of that kind of waistline look, that tailored look. It all kind of goes hand in hand. And we are seeing a lot more of again, it's kind of that tailored look with the belt as well. And it does not have to be an expensive belt. My favorite belt is probably, I think it was $50. It was from Madewell. It is a beautiful kind of caramel brown belt. I've had it for probably 4 or 5 years now. I think they still honestly make it. If they do, I will link it down below for you guys. And it is one I have worn time and time and time again. And we are seeing more of that classic structured, simple belt. Now on the other side of that, the belts we are kind of seeing fall to the wayside are more your kind of wrap belts, your bohemian belts, your kind of very busy belts. Those ones that you kind of saw a lot of times with more your, dresses that people would try and create a waistline with by using these wrap belts, but they would be a little bit busy or a little bit kind of almost jeweled, or just bohemian is probably the best word for that. They were just very busy, and they added an element to the outfit at one point in time, and I wore them as well, but they just right now just don't have a time and place in kind of the moment we're having with trends and kind of the classic look. It's kind of falling to the wayside a little bit. Number 5. Now, number 5, I have, let's say, a little bit of a struggle with. So it's penny loafers. And I think this is because I grew up going to Catholic school and we wore penny loafers every day to school for the most part. I think I remember a couple years there where we were allowed to wear kind of like ballet flats, but for the most part, we wore penny loafers. And so I think that's why I personally struggle with this. And it was like we wore, the plaid skirt with the white polo shirt and the socks and the penny loafers. So I think that's a mental struggle there for me personally. So penny loafers are back. And I do like the look of them on people. I think they look amazing. I love the looks I see on other people. But for me personally, I don't think, and I say this and I might eat my own words, I don't think it's a look that I'm going to go for. However, how I work that into my own wardrobe is I have found loafer style or loafer-esque shoes. All right, I just went and grabbed one for you. And this is only half of it, but this is a style. So these shoes, you guys have heard me talk about this brand 100 times. It's a brand called Vivia. I love them. They're probably one of my favorite ballet flats/flat shoe. I love their loafer-esque style shoes. I have quite a few of them. This one is one that has a cheetah, and the rest of the cheetah body is on the other side. They have cushioning through the heel. They have cushioning and great arch support. They are like super comfy. Anyway, that's beside the point. I like this kind of throw to a loafer style, but it's not a penny loafer. This is kind of my way of wearing a loafer. I can't get behind a full structured loafer, so this is kind of my way of wearing a loafer. It's what works for me. I have red ones, I have black ones, I have a ivory one. I think that's pretty much it. But these are what I choose to personally wear. It's just kind of how I can incorporate a trend in without making myself feel uncomfortable in a trend. Now, the other side of that is kind of like I mentioned earlier when we were talking about kind of those Mary Janes and things, is I had talked about, remember when I said that the chunky Mary Jane platform one that had come out in the very beginning was out? The same thing with that is, do you remember a few years ago when penny loafers first kind of hit in the beginning, same as the Mary Janes, was they were really big into the like platform version of that. The platform kind of penny loafer is out as well. And it's just a really chunky shoe like that is kind of hard because it just kind of makes you look heavy. It's not delicate. It's kind of hard to make an outfit look, I don't know how to even explain it. It just looks clunky. It looks heavy. It's very hard to streamline a look when a shoe has a very heavy platform to it. So these platform shoes, I am not mad about the fact that these platform shoes have made their way out and are not in currently. You may not love that, but me personally, I'm okay with that. The number 6 trend that we are seeing a lot of is the very boxy kind of workwear trend. And we are seeing this in kind of your leather, your wool coats, in slightly into the sweaters a little bit. And we're seeing a lot of these in your more neutrals, right? Your grays, your blacks, your kind of like beiges, your very neutral tones. And I kind of struggle with these because of my body shape. I am very hourglass, and a very boxy one can make me look very wide because when I don't have any shape in the middle to me, it makes me go from wide to wide because there is nothing showing any dimension. So I struggle with the shape of this. Now, in some people, I think this looks amazing on them. And I love the concept of this, and I like the look of some of these. But for my own body shape, it doesn't work. And I think there are ways to incorporate it in with the right pieces, but I think for me, they have to be the right length. So in order to do a very boxy piece on me personally, it has to be more cropped. And so I have to be very strategic with those pieces. So we are definitely seeing these more boxy kind of workwear style in these more natural materials. Now the downside of this is the one thing I am seeing fall to the wayside this year, and I am so bummed about this. Now, I don't think it will ever go away because we will always see people wearing this, but I am really bummed that I feel like I have not seen this as much this year in the fall, is we're not seeing the denim jackets as much, guys. And I don't just mean in the boxy, like workwear style. We're not seeing it as much. Now, I feel like I'm seeing it more like we're seeing it in everyday style, right? You're always gonna see the denim jacket out there in real life. But I'm talking like in fashion trends, you're just not seeing people styling a denim jacket as much. And I kind of took notice of that, and I was like, where'd it go? Why isn't anybody talking about a denim jacket? I love a denim jacket in the fall and spring and as a layer. And I was like, I'm not seeing it. And I was devastated. I was like, I don't think people are talking about this. I don't know. Are you seeing it? I mean, like I said, I'm sure you're seeing it out there in everyday life. But do you feel like you're seeing it on YouTube, on your Instagram, on your Pinterest? What do you think? Are you seeing it? I'd love to hear if you're seeing it out there because I really don't feel like I'm seeing it that much. Number 7. Number 7 is one that I feel like we're seeing a lot more, and it's a fashion trend, but it has to do with hair. And that is, we are seeing more of your, what I would say, just like soft kind of waves. Now this is not as full soft waves as what we are seeing is. They're actually calling them more your old money waves. And my hair personally does not do what a lot of what we are seeing out there. And it is like the big, like, you know what I mean? Like the hair that waves back and all of that. And I remember a little bit like the hot roller almost like look. And I think it is beautiful. And it looks stunning. However, my hair, if I did that, would be great for all of 30 minutes. But it's not going to stay like that. So for me personally, it's finding a way to make my hair like today just a little bit softer. So what it is we are not seeing those tight kind of wavy curls or the really messy straight ends. We're just seeing a little bit of a looser curl. So we are either seeing one of two things. We are seeing a big kind of like hot roller Dyson. When I use my Dyson, it's fine. I can do that, but that's a lot of work. We're seeing that big Dyson waves or a softer wave type of curl. What we are not seeing anymore is those kind of like straight end, tight like curl with the straight ends or super straight hair. We're just not seeing as much of that anymore. We're also not seeing that trend of people defining like where the part should be, the middle, the side. You know how that was a trend for a while of really defining where the part should be. There's not as much of that. People are kind of parting their hair all over the place. I bounce mine all over the place. Sometimes it's in the middle, sometimes it's off to the side. Today it's not really either. It's not in the middle and it's not far to the side. Who knows? I don't have a defining way I do it. And like I said, when I use my Dyson, I get a much wavier, kind of bouncier curl. And it's nice, but it's a lot of work. Like I really have to want to do that. So for me personally, I tend to do what you're seeing here, which is just a softer towards the end kind of wave, which works for me. And it's easy and it's quick. That's the other thing. I don't have the time to curl my hair every day. I also don't have the time to do a Dyson every single day. But if I'm going out somewhere or I want to take the time, I will do it. But primarily every day, this is just kind of what I do, a little bit looser of a curl. But we are definitely seeing a trend towards more of that big kind of voluminous hair, which if I could get my hair to do it, I love the look of it. If I could get my hair to do it without a lot of effort, let's say it that way. I love the look of it, just don't love the effort. The number 8 trend we are seeing is a lot of button-up cardigans. I have one on today, and we are seeing that trend coming back, and you may remember this from when you were younger, because I certainly do. The more boxy kind of, not long cardigans, more of the waist-length cardigans with one buttoned at the top. We are seeing them buttoned all the way down the front. We are seeing them definitely more body skimming again, the boxier ones. We are seeing V-neck cardigans coming back in. We are definitely seeing them go back more towards comfort and style than that kind of comfy, oversized, kind of little bit on that sloppy side when they were definitely more when we were wearing them with like leggings and oversized tee and really like that long oversized kind of look. You know, we all wore it. It was like, you remember, it was like leggings, long t-shirt, a super long cardigan with like the ankle booties, but the ankle booties like stopped here and the leggings started here, so you had like this much skin showing. It was a whole look, you know what I mean? And I think we all had like a super long necklace on too, or something like that. Like it was definitely a look we all had, and trust me, I did it too. We all did it, and it was a look for a while there, but it has definitely fallen to the wayside. And the shorter, more not cropped cardigans, but like hip length cardigans have definitely made their way back in. and I'm here for it. Trust me, I have the long cardigans. I own them. I have put them to the back of my closet because I am sure they will make their way back in at some point. However, I'm back for this. Like, I actually like the little, like the t-shirt that's more to here and a little necklace, but then the cardigan buttoned here. Sometimes I wear it all the way open. Sometimes I button here. Kind of depends on which one I'm wearing. I personally love, this one is from Quince. I love Quince's cashmere sweaters. I love their cashmere cardigans. These are perfect. I love the button details. I love that I can wear it buttoned, or I can wear it with just one at the top, or I can wear it open. So versatile, so easy to wear at a great price point. It is very on trend at that great price point. This is exactly what I need when these trends are kind of changing like this. Do you also remember when those long cardigans were in? The ones that kind of like had the tie back knot in the back. Those were, why did we do that? That was strange. Or the ones that were like rounded. Do you remember those too? Like we'd have a long t-shirt on and the cardigan, like, oh, Barefoot Dreams had them, right? It like rounded, like, I don't even know why. Like that was not flattering. Like, who knows why we did it, what we wore, all of that. But you know, it is what it is. And I'm sure at some point it will come back as well. But it has definitely fallen to the wayside and made its way out. And definitely this style is coming back in. But I do remember this again. I remember, actually, I probably wore this butter yellow, similar sweater cardigan I think I probably wore this to like a 7th or 8th grade dance. Something very similar with probably some sort of floral skirt and a ballet flat. You know what I mean? My 7th or 8th grade dance. Were you there with me? Let me know. All right, enough reminiscing. Number nine. Okay, we are seeing slip dresses, slip skirts in silk satin come back to the forefront. I have always been a big fan of this. I have always liked them. Again, kind of like we talked about denim skirts and skirts, the very, very first thing I talked about. This is kind of your slip dresses or slip skirts in those silks and satins, kind of in a different manner. Again, very similar to that first thing though, is we are seeing them more with tights, with those boots, the knee boots, things like that. Definitely elevating that style to give it a more classic, a more kind of elevated look to it. You could wear it with heels, you could wear it with boots, you could wear it with ballet flats, but definitely giving you a more elevated look, taking away, again, as I mentioned before, that pleated midi skirt. We all had them, you know, those pleats, and it looked so cute at the time, and it was so flowy, and you know, we all loved it, but it definitely has fallen to the wayside, and we're getting away from those pleats and that fullness and giving us more of that body skimming, definitely elevated look, a more tailored look, a more classic look. Those pleats have definitely gone away and are not a thing right now. And the maxi skirts, we definitely want that more, it just has a different look to it, a more classic look, a more tailored look. It shows more elements. When we were wearing that more maxi skirt or that more pleated kind of midi skirt, we weren't having as many elements. This more midi skirt that is kind of your satin or slip skirt is showing more elements. You're putting in that maybe tight or that boot or that heel. We're having to add more elements, which shows more of our own style. It shows more of what our own elements are by adding our own style to it. Whereas when we were wearing that midi skirt, you weren't showing as much, right? So you weren't having to show your own style with it, which I think gives more of our own elements to it, which shows more of who we are and how we show how our own style is, and really more of ourselves in these ways that our styles are evolving through these items, which I'm here for. So those are 9 of the items that I am seeing coming out and trends that are changing both in and out through fall and winter of 2025. And now we're making our way into 2026. I'm here for it. So please let me know which of these items you are excited about or kind of bummed about, like the denim jacket number 6 for me. I'd love to hear about that down below.